Hey everybody, welcome to episode 12 of Joystick Maverick. This is a brand new, very specific kind of funky episode because we got two big things. Not only do we have a sponsor and our discount code, but we've also got a special guest. So please welcome friend of the program, spooky correspondent, co-host of Terra Incognito, and just all-around dope dude, Sam Burson.
What up?
As always, I'm Ernie Hawkins, joined by Dominic Irvin, the host of your show. Mahaffey couldn't join us. He's got family oblos, but he was kind enough to, once again, to put together some show notes so I don't stumble too bad through this episode, because last time I just, didn't know too much about not enough. That's okay. So we're actually going to kick things off with a little bit of a housekeeping. Hey, everybody, guess what? This isn't the only show. Dominic has put together a stream schedule. We're going to start bringing some more things to the table here. I know we've always kind of joked about, Ernie can do a whole show about poorly explaining things in Japanese animes or video games because I just don't understand the culture. Maybe we'll do that. Let's just keep it to TikTok, 2 minutes or less, and then I'll make that a little quiet place for myself. But Dom, what's the new schedule like?
Yeah, so starting next week, so July 12th through July 18th, we're going to be streaming a couple of times during the week. Starting on Tuesday, we're going to do a 4-hour block starting at 7 p.m. Eastern, going until 11 with World of Warcraft Shadowlands. 9.1 drop, a new raid dropped. I've taken a couple of years off of the game. I've come back. You'll quickly find out that I come back with these games as a vengeance. And I kind of throw myself into them. So we'll see how that goes. So that's on Tuesday, July 13th. On Wednesday, we're off. On Thursday, it's our normal Joystick Maverick weekly podcast at 8 p.m.-ish, unless Dom is late. On Friday, we're also taking Friday off. But on Saturday, from 8 p.m. to 12 a.m., we're doing Destiny 2. I am a huge Destiny 2 player. I gotta
get into the game.
Years
never played it.
At this point. I'm like one of those min-maxers. So we're going to be doing some raids. We'll do PvP. We'll do some weekly activities like Grandmaster Nightfalls and such.
And I might have to get in on that.
Come on in, dude.
Please,
I haven't played Destiny 2.
Min-maxers are either.
I haven't played Destiny 2 since like it first came out.
Heck yeah.
I don't even remember what platform it's on. It's Origin, right?
It's it's Steam now. It used to be on Battle.net. Yeah.
I've got it floating around somewhere. I know I have a copy of it on this computer.
Let me know. We'll get you in. We'll do it. We'll have a good time.
Yeah. Sam, I thought you were going to say, I haven't played Destiny 2 since Destiny 1. Like, I was going to be like, oh, yeah, it makes total sense.
I actually never played Destiny 1. I got into Destiny 2 because of people that wound up leaving to go play other things like WoW.
Well, you know what? Come full circle. We'll start at the beginning of the week. Things you don't like, we'll end on the high notes.
And lastly, on Sunday, we'll be doing an early morning stream from 8 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern, where it's the Magic the Gathering Arena morning coffee stream. So the new set just dropped this week, based on Forgotten Realms. We talked about Dark Alliance a couple of weeks ago on the show. Yep. So they actually did a whole Magic set based on Forgotten Realms, and I will be doing a 3-hour block of just deck building and some ranked play in Magic the Gathering Arena while drinking an exorbitant amount of coffee. So
I was hoping you're going the other way. I was hoping you're going like every Sunday. I'm going to start the day by getting loaded.
Just loaded.
At 1 p.m.
There won't be any Baileys in the coffee or JMO in the coffee. There might be.
There you go.
Depending on how the Saturday stream goes. But yeah, we're kicking that off. We're kicking that'll be the schedule for 7/12 to 7/18. I'll put out a schedule probably early in the week for the next week after that. We're gonna switch things up. I don't want to do the same game every single week. I have a bunch of games in backlog that I want to play and kind of get out in front of to show you guys. We got Ninja Gaiden, the Master Collection that came out with Ninja Gaiden 1, 2, and 3 on PlayStation. And we have a bunch of stuff coming up. I mean, we're going to talk about a crap ton of stuff today. So, yeah.
Dude, it's, again, we're getting into the throes of the summer where, you know, we talked about it already, how a lot of this is backlog from COVID, right? a lot of the pandemic stuff. We got things coming out in theaters that are not coming out to a streaming service. We got video games dropping left and right. There's just not enough time in the day, and I'm going to hit a little bit of some of that later on in the episode. But I'm actually really excited for what's ahead. I'm unfortunately not as excited for what happened this past week.
Yeah, so, rough week.
Yeah, man, we got to start it off with a negative note. We got to go in memoriam. This guy, as we all know, Richard Donner, he died 91 years old. He directed things like Lethal Weapon, Lady Hawk, Superman, Scrooge, The Goonies. I mean, just look at that face. Look at that face.
Goonies never die, man.
Yeah,
that's right. Goonies never die. This guy made me believe a man could fly. He was the first introduction for me for two people, Sean Astin and Josh Brolin, who ended up being Thanos years later. I mean, it was this. I don't feel like a big, loss very often when it comes to people who, like creators like Robin Williams or Steve Jobs, because used to work at Apple, not a big deal. But at the same time, when Tim Burton goes, I'm gonna cry like a little baby, because
there are a few that are coming up.
Yeah, man. Tim Burton taught me how to dance with the devil beneath the pale moonlight. So I'm gonna always, hold some of these people and what they create and the effect they have on my life in a close space. But we definitely had to make sure we gave a shout out to Richard Donner on this day. So, what about you guys? What out of the things that he's done, which ones are your favorite?
I'll let our guest go first.
Crickets. Yeah, I mean, the ones you said, Ernie. No,
the top two for him, The Goonies was probably my first introduction to him before I even knew who he was, and again, like that entire cast is a bunch of people that wound up in movies for the next 20 years, and then Lethal Weapon. I know Mel Gibson might be questionable.
He's a polarizing individual.
I'm pretty sure he doesn't like you in particular.
Yeah. But he's not. He somehow made it through all that and got like uncanceled or something. But whatever. I love the Lethal Weapon movies. I think I finally understand the whole like getting too old for this shit part, because now that I have a kid, I constantly feel like I'm too old for everything.
Yeah.
Growing up, you always want to be Mel Gibson in Lethal Weapon. And then as you hit your 30s, you're like, fuck, Danny Glover. That guy knew what he was talking about, dude. I am getting too old for this shit. That's for damn sure.
Yeah. If that's not like your regular lexicon, I'm getting too old for this shit, then you're not doing it hard enough, man. Whatever you're doing, you're just not doing it hard enough.
Dude, Scrooged is my favorite Christmas movie of all time.
Really?
I love Bill Murray. Scrooged is one of my favorite Christmas movies of all time.
It's a fun one.
It's so fun.
Christmas movies though?
What is your favorite Christmas movie other than Jingle All the Way? Jingle All the Way is
Die Hard.
Yeah,
Die Hard. We watched Die Hard last night.
Die Hard, Jingle All the Way. My favorite is always like trying to pick out the Christmas movies that aren't Christmas movies. Die Hard is a great example of that. Iron Man 3, also a good example of that.
Iron Man 3.
Like it's technically Christmas time, and technically he gives a giant teddy bear to Pepper Potts. So
true.
I mean, but
isn't that a Shane Black thing? All of his movies take place around that time period of like December, Christmas. I read that somewhere that was something that actually happened. I can't remember off the top of my head, but there seems to be a theme of that guy's movies taking place around December and Christmas, or maybe it's just Iron Man 3.
I wonder if he's just
Predator
like me, that like
Christmas.
if Predator takes place around Christmas, that's going to change the whole debate about is Die Hard the best Christmas movie. Come on, kill me, come on. But
Edward Scissorhands. Edward Scissorhands is a great Christmas movie.
Also great Christmas
movie. That's a good one.
And Batman Returns.
Yes, Tim Burton. We've gone full circle.
Yeah, and we're back.
There it is.
Dude, I'm not losing my mind. It is true. The majority of Shane Black movies take place during Christmas, starting with Die Hard. Iron Man 3, Die Hard, Lethal Weapon, The Last Boy Scout, Long Kiss Goodnight, Kiss Kiss Bang Bang.
Wait, The Last Boy Scout's around Christmas?
Kiss Kiss Bang Bang?
Yeah, Kiss Kiss Bang Bang's around Christmas.
Yeah. Lethal Weapon is around Christmas. I do remember that.
I do remember the Lethal Weapon one, but that's the No, that is the first one.
It's the first one when she jumps off the building.
But The Last Boy Scout, I don't remember that.
I didn't think The Last Boy Scouts took place on Christmas, but It's what it says.
So, so this means we're gonna have to have a Christmas episode now. And we're
Yeah, we are. And we're gonna have to watch all these.
We're just gonna have a Shane Black marathon.
Yeah, or just at least all the Christmas movies that aren't Christmas movies but on paper.
Yeah.
No, that's man. See, you're welcome, Richard Donner. You know, we never knew you, but you know, we knew you. Next on our list is going to roll into some positivity now that we, you know, have put our souls out on the line there.
Is the next one really positive? Because I don't know if this is a positive or not.
The state of gaming, it's always positive. Oh, wait.
Not the first thing.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry. I'm
So
sorry.
even the news reports I saw screwed this up at first. Because I saw 3 reports about this the day it got announced that all said it was going to be 4K.
Yeah. No, I know.
And then like 6 hours later, everyone was like, we screwed up.
I mean, even the title of our episode has the word Switch Pro in it, and that's not what the fuck it's called.
Yeah. That's right. It's
just the OLED model. Yeah.
Leave it to fucking Nintendo. Like,
well, they were calling it the Switch. Well, rumors were saying Switch Pro, Switch 2.
Super Switch, was it the Nintendo Super Switch?
The Super Switch would have been great.
That'd have been I'd have bought it. If this was called the Super Switch, I probably still would have bought it, even if it only had an OLED screen.
I kind of hope that when a 4K version does come out, they do call it like the Super Switch.
Yeah, that shit would be awesome.
Flip Switch.
For the fact that it's a $50 marginal upgrade for a better kickstand, an OLED screen, and I think it's a fucking Ethernet port on the dock.
It's bigger, right?
I don't even think it's bigger. I think it's the same size.
I thought it was 7.
It could be bigger.
Inches? I think it's like a little bit. I don't know. I bought
What's
mine.
the difference really between 6 and 7 inches, boys?
Yeah,
like,
I'll tell you what the difference is. It's between me and somebody else. You know what I'm saying? But no, to your point, I think maybe the biggest thing is for the OLED. I know historically OLED is supposed to be a lot less power consumption, maybe just longer battery life. So I doubt it's nothing on the guts really was changed besides that, right? I mean,
honestly, this is Nintendo playing it safe. Nintendo has to play it safe, and the reason why is because look at the new Nintendo 3DS that came out a couple of years after the original Nintendo 3DS came out. That was a nominal upgrade that came out very close to when the original came out. And then what happened is that you had Nintendo 3DS games for the new 3DS only that wouldn't work on the old 3DS. So you're kind of pricing people because you're kind of like you're kind of alienating part of your fan base there. And I think that's part of the reason why Nintendo decided to do this, because what would have ended up happening is if you had this Switch that had, 4K resolution, faster processing power, of course the devs are going to start taking advantage of that. And then you're going to run into a shit, a thing like Skyrim, where it's going to run like dog shit on the original Switch and then run almost okay on the new Switch.
Oh, it's going to be Cyberpunk?
Right, it's going to be Cyberpunk.
Just not work.
Yeah.
But all the specs included here really do tell why they didn't bring it up in the middle of E3. Like, if you're going to talk about a new model of anything, you're not going to go out and be like, "Hey guys, it's just slightly better."
The 4K bit alone, when that was rumored to be in this, I guess like the day that the news dropped that it was coming out, was enough to get me thinking about trading in mine just to upgrade to it, because I've got a 4K TV that my Switch dock. That my Switch dock is plugged into. That being said, so like I bought my Switch when I had my kid because a bunch of people were like, yeah, it's easy way to just kind of pass the time if she's asleep or whatever. I've used the dock maybe 3 times. I play almost strictly in handheld. I also never use the kickstand. I've used it twice and I can't seem to get like a viewing angle that doesn't make my back or neck feel like it's going to break in half.
I have a Switch. I have a Switch, a docked Switch, the one that you can take in and out of the dock. And I only played it in handheld to the point where my wife wanted a Switch, and I was like, "You could just use this one, and I will buy a Switch Lite because I only play in handheld." The only game that I'm considering playing in docked mode is Breath of the Wild, because I play everything else in handheld. I played the new Pokemon Snap. I played Astral Chain. I played Pokemon Sword and Shield. All of that I play in handheld mode because that's kind of what I've been playing with Nintendo for a while. I barely played the Wii U. I barely played the Wii. My last real Nintendo home console was GameCube. And most of these GameCube games are coming out on the Switch, and I'll just play them in handheld. But yeah, I completely get what you're saying. If it was 4K, it would have been an immediate purchase for me. I have a 4K TV as well. So
yeah, because like Breath of the Wild, I think was like my first experience with the Switch, at least owning it. And I know that game's a couple years old at this point. And I texted a buddy of mine who's a big fan of the game, and I was just blown away at how good that game still looks now.
It looks incredible.
And that's without 4K, and even in handheld mode, the game looks awesome. So there's a part of me that gets it why Nintendo's not doing it, because they don't really need to. You can leave all the powerhouse shit to Sony and Microsoft and just keep focusing on what you do. Splatoon doesn't need to be 4K.
Games. I mean, like let's just put the cards on the table. At least Nintendo's putting fucking games out. I mean, we haven't had a real PS5 or Xbox Series X game except for Returnal, really, that has come out.
Yeah.
I mean, I played Destiny 2. I have a PS5. I have a LG OLED TV, like top of the line, everything. I literally played.
I'm telling you, the minute you give out your address, you're getting robbed.
I was gonna say you could probably still get this new Switch before most people can get their hands on a PS5.
You probably can.
But is there a particular reason, and I haven't been able to figure this out, is there a particular reason why historically for the past couple of different consoles that Nintendo's output is not at like full spec of what the latest TV is? I mean, maybe I'm crazy, but I feel like the Nintendo Wii wasn't like full 1080p for a while, and maybe I blacked that out. But even now with this new Switch and it's OLED model, it's not 4K. What is it? Just because they're being quirky, or is this what's the benefit?
I think Sam hit it on the head, dude. They don't have to.
I think with Nintendo, like if you look at Nintendo, Microsoft, and Sony as the like primary developer, Nintendo's not making any games as the lead developer that require any like crazy powerful consoles. Or require being up-resed in 4K or 8K for the people that have that kind of money.
I do not.
That's fair.
I do not have 8K.
So why pass that on to the consumer if you know that you're not even going to make games for your own console like it?
So then maybe if I'll be devil's advocate, maybe the other idea is that Nintendo understands their target audience really isn't the 30 somethings. I'm only on the earlier side of 30 for another couple of days here, but they're not us, right? It's not us with adult money. It's the kids, the younger consumers. They're looking for the continued, let me get younger audiences, because that makes lifetime purchasers and consumers. So the more it's kind of geared in that direction, maybe that's more beneficial to their business model. Maybe. Not to get too deep in the into the financial weeds there, but
I think there's also something to be said though of like if you've got 4K when you're docked on your TV, they have to do something so that the drop off between that and handheld mode isn't so aggravating that you don't want to do it.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, do you remember when the original Xbox 360 came out and HD was a brand new thing at that point? And one game specifically, Dead Rising. If you played Dead Rising in standard definition, that game was unplayable because the text was this big.
Yeah. That was a regular problem for a lot of those consoles.
So like you have to kind of like get the game to the point where it looks good on its lowest common denominator, and for Nintendo that's its handheld. Because I don't think we're getting a 4K screen on the Switch.
That'd be dope, though.
That would be sweet as shit, dude. It's so fucking cool. I'd buy that too.
Hell yeah. Or they'll just finally like start converting all the games for iOS, and then you can have your iPad Pros and whatever, just play those games too. So
yeah.
But I digress. Rolling on next. Guess what I didn't watch today?
Guess who also didn't watch it?
I don't own a PlayStation. The only PlayStation I ever owned was a PlayStation 2, and I've told the story before on the show, but I basically played the same level of Tony Hawk Pro Skater 3 on it, or 2, or whatever it was. because I ejected the disc and had to return it back to
That's right,
Blockbuster,
you did say
and
that.
it cached the entire freaking level, but only the same Ace of Spades song the entire level. I never played it. I'm talking maybe like months, dude. Months.
That's where you
of
just put
playing
it
the
on
same
mute
thing.
and turn on your stereo. Crank
Crank
that boombox.
I mean, I got into a whole rhythm, but for me, PlayStation, although I respect all the games coming out for it and all, well, kind of coming out
All
for
the games
it.
coming out for it, got it.
Yeah, exactly. But I mean, I don't really don't. It's never been a drive for me. So
Yeah.
Ooh.
I have a PlayStation 3 sitting over there completely covered in dust. I don't even own any games for it anymore. I only have it because I've got a Blu-ray box set of the Venture Brothers, and it's the only way for me to watch it.
Venture Bros. Nice.
So I'll sum up the state of play because I did catch some of it. This state of play was focused entirely on Deathloop, which is a first-person shooter where I think it's done by Arcane, or it's not Arcane, but it's a studio like that, where it's kind of like a time travel thing where like you kill somebody, but you can go back in time and do it a different way and all that stuff. It's really weird. They did a bunch of indie stuff. The other thing that they did was Death Stranding, the PS5 edition.
Yeah, the director's cut.
Let me tell you, I don't know how they made that game look interesting, because I watched the trailer and I'm like, fuck, I might play this. Like I watched a lot of Death Stranding shit before this, like when it first came out, and I'm like, yeah, I don't give a shit. I don't need to walk around as Norman Reedus just fucking delivering packages.
But now that it looks prettier, now you do.
There's they got like motorcycles and fucking guns in it and shit, and I'm like, okay, this is kind of like Metal Gear Solid. I'm like,
because that's what you have to do. You got to focus on the not boring shit.
Right.
And the
so I
Norman
might
Reedus,
play Death
yes.
Stranding PS5. I say that, but no, I probably won't.
They just
I'm
need to
ready
choose
for
that
a
game
state
to
of
be
play
called-
that like.
Huh?
I'm ready for a state of play that's like, hey, we're gonna show Final Fantasy 16, and we're gonna show, Elden Ring and more stuff, and we're gonna show Bloodborne 2, and we're gonna show the next God of War and all that stuff. I understand COVID was a thing that happened, and it really really fucked up a lot of development times. Not to sound insensitive. I understand some people were affected by COVID. No, I completely understand that, but it seems to me that a lot of developers are bouncing back from that and are starting to kind of hit the gas. And Sony, what really concerns me about Sony is that Sony do you guys remember when the PlayStation 3 came out? And like the big messaging for the PlayStation 3 was like, fuck it, second mortgage your house to buy a PlayStation 3. And
it's
everybody was like,
player.
right.
I just remember that it had the same typeface as Spider-Man 2. So that's
right.
That's
and everybody was like,
Yeah,
that's a kind of a fucked up thing to say to the consumer. Like, go get a second job.
It's
and
worth it.
And then like Xbox was like, nah, man, we're for the gamers. Fuck you guys. And then PlayStation 4 came out and was like, nah, we are actually for the gamers. And then Xbox is like, you're not going to be able to trade your games. And then they did the whole mic drop thing. And I feel like with PlayStation now, we're kind of getting back to fuck the consumer at this point. You know, I hope it's not. It feels like they kind of gotten complacent, and I hope that they're not taking their foot off the gas. Microsoft is making some big effing moves. Like Game Pass alone.
Killing it.
Game Pass alone, literally, we talk about it every single show.
So I had that when they first did Game Pass on PC. I picked it up, that 3 month for $1 thing.
Yeah.
So I did that. I played for a bunch. That was the first time I got my hands on Outer Worlds.
Yeah.
Had a blast with it. I wound up buying Outer Worlds separately because it was just a lot of fun, and I canceled my Game Pass subscription. Then Microsoft bought Bethesda.
Yeah, and
I was like, all right, I have to have,
out.
Game Pass is mandatory now.
Fallout 76,
yeah,
Skyrim, all that shit came out on Game Pass. I was like, damn, dude.
Yeah, Game Pass is mandatory now. Which now that I have a computer that can run everything, it has to happen.
I think there's one thing coming up about the PlayStation State of Play that might play into a little bit of what's happening with that, and might kind of sucks. But that's 2 or more topics from now. But for the next topic, we're going to stick with Dead Space remake. I guess it's in the works. It's like trying to play like hide and seek with the rumors of the internet. Every time there's like, oh, there's a big reveal for the same studio. I guess that means the other rumor isn't true. I mean, people kind of forget that you can multitask, I guess, a little bit. I was around for like the early days of Dead Space, working at GameStop and things like that, but I never played. So
it was scary as fuck, dude. I loved Dead Space.
I like the first one, yeah.
The first one. The other two get fucked, but the first one's really good, and it's really good.
So a remake, do you think it's like just a remastering, or do you think like a remake of like they're gonna have all female characters versus any male characters? Like,
what is this, Hollywood?
Dude, I feel like this is what's going on with games, though. Like
they're running out of ideas.
Remasters and remakes.
Yeah,
at this
I feel like it's all remake. I'm not even seeing a lot of remakes. I'm just seeing
like, hey, this shit looks prettier.
Yeah.
I mean, I bought the Mass Effect Legendary Edition. This shit does look prettier, but fuck, give me Mass Effect 5.
The ending of the third one still sucks.
It sucks so bad. God, that was ending so bad that they had to put out DLC for free for everybody just to keep them from fucking rioting.
And I still didn't play the DLC because I was
nope, neither did I.
I played Andromeda until I got tired of that because it was just boring.
Yeah, I played that for the first planet and was like, yeah, this is not good.
Yeah,
this is just boring. As far as this EA Days of Play thing, people are starting to hype it up. That's the thing that they're doing at the end of July, where they're supposed to announce this. There's also talk of them reviving a sports franchise. We talked about NBA Street last show. I mean, fuck,
spoilers.
Yeah. Spoilers. I was that late. No, I know that's later, but it coincides with this with this Dead Space thing. So I mean, if they do bring back Dead Space, I hope that it's not just a remaster. I would really hope that they kind of take the technology that we've gone to, that we have now, and they craft something new out of it. And just put Dead Space on it. That's fine. I'll buy it. But I don't need a shot for shot remake or remaster of Dead Space 1 with better graphics.
It reminds me of
Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. No, I was gonna say it reminds me of that Halo kind of remaster, right? Where like they had the original Halo game, and then you could switch in between, like, oh, this is the remaster of Halo, the original Halo, but hopefully not that. To your point.
Yeah, they released everything in the Master Chief Collection, and then they did it episodically in order, which was awesome.
And then the Halo 2 Anniversary Edition, is legitimately fucking gorgeous.
Yeah, it's like that's Bungie did that shit right. They're like, you buy this one thing, you're gonna get all the games. We're gonna release the original and anniversary collections, and we're gonna release the games in order. And then we're going to release the new Halo afterwards.
And then we're going to give you all the multiplayer. All of it. Yeah. Not just like a cannibalized version of all 5 games multiplayer. No, you can go into the game, select which game you want to play the multiplayer from, and then matchmake there. Fucking
they did that right.
343, dude.
Oh, that's right. I can't say Bungie anymore.
It's not Bungie anymore. But it's 343. Bungie makes Destiny now. That's right. And I only play Destiny.
Oh man. No, I definitely. I think to your point, they definitely did it right. Unfortunately, I don't think Dead Space can learn from that. But speaking,
I don't think EA could learn from that. Let's be real here.
Bro.
When was the last time EA knocked it out of the park?
I mean, I was going to say. I was going to say they should just stick to their sports franchises, but those are just reskins of the previous year with more loot boxes.
They even put the same damn athlete on the cover of fucking FIFA every year at this point now. It's just Cristiano Ronaldo. I mean, I bought it, but I'm not happy about it.
They should just change the name of it. They had Tiger Woods Golf.
I used to buy it every other year. So I'd have like Madden. I'd have NBA 2K, right? Is that EA?
No, NBA Live.
NBA Live. NBA Live, I'd have FIFA. I would buy it every other year because I feel like every 2 years was enough where like there'd be enough of a systems change where it'd be a different game. Now I feel like you have to wait like 4 or 5 years, but you're missing out on all the players when they're good.
Absolutely.
There you go. Next one up, Konami and Bloober team announces partnership amid Silent Hill rumors. I'll be honest, I never played Silent Hill because I'm kind of a pussy or whatever. But also at the same time, sorry, I'm gonna do gender appropriate. I was a limp dick about it and didn't play those games. I just watched the movies. You know, I love seeing things that could really just cause some nightmares. But I don't really so what really is what do you guys think is like the really big ramification of this kind of team up for Silent Hill? Just more star power, better.
So I'm hesitant to say
things?
this is even Silent Hill.
Yeah.
Oh.
So this is something that we talked about on our podcast a lot last year, because it felt like every other week there was a rumor about Konami and Silent Hill, and so we probably spent like 5 or 6 hours over the course of like 2 or 3 months just talking about this. Because I think at one point Konami posted like some really cryptic thing on Twitter.
Yep.
Like
I remember that.
a screenshot that kind of kicked off the whole thing. There were rumors about like trademarks getting filed. And then the lead writer, whose name is escaping me right now, pretty much came out and was like, yeah, this isn't happening. But even if it was, I wasn't allowed to talk about it. But since it's not happening, I can talk about it and say it's not happening. So I don't know what this partnership with Bloober is about.
It's weird. All of this shit around Konami. I mean, now did you hear about the Kojima thing this week too? Where like Kojima is apparently partnering with Microsoft now, and like it's like a handshake deal at this point that's already like almost finalized. I mean,
first off, how do we as the people hear about handshake deals without like a letter of intent that's been leaked? Like, oh, some guy was in an elevator and like 2 dudes shook hands. You know what that means? Like,
right.
I mean, somebody's got to get paid somewhere, and granted, I understand it gets leaked, but like, it feels a little wishy-washy. Well, to your point, you talked about that tweet being released. I think that there is definitely some kind of methodology with bigger companies releasing things, especially on the Twitter or whatever, that kind of get a gauge of interest, right? It takes nothing for me to come up with some kind of gooberish thing that you could try to pull little Easter eggs out of and just see the volume of traffic, see where it goes, the virality of that information, and then go, is it worth it? Are we going to have enough people that really are interested in that body of work to produce something with it? Yeah. So every time I see that, I kind of my little spidey sense goes off and goes, I want to get excited. But should I be excited?
That's kind of like the Deadpool effect, right? Where like if you leak it enough, and if people like it, then you're gonna get it made. Like that's what Ryan Reynolds did. He was like, "Hey, we got like test footage of Deadpool, and I'm gonna leak it. And if people like it, maybe they'll campaign enough, and we'll get it made." And it happened.
Yeah. And then we got the best International Women's Day clip ever.
Right. So good. Marina Bakker and Peg and Ryan Reynolds is awesome. But I mean, Silent Hills is great. Silent Hill is awesome. I love that as a franchise. It's a really awesome franchise. I don't know if I need it back. I feel like it would be great, but yeah, I'm interested to see what's going. Konami, I feel like just stays fucking up recently. Like their E3 presentation was about one fucking game. Like their whole E3 presentation was one game. Or no, that was Capcom. Konami said, "Hey, we're going to E3," and then 3 days before E3 was like, "Nah, we're not going to E3."
You know why? Because we got nothing to talk about.
Right.
They still fucked up in that way too, though. I mean, I'm sure they were still charged for the sponsorship. All the things have been printed. Like, guess what, guys? We're still getting you 20 grand. Thanks, bye.
I mean, I think this partnership with Bloober makes sense from the standpoint of like Bloober's known for putting out horror games, and Konami knows everybody that's our age would be interested in seeing Silent Hill, but anybody younger than us probably doesn't know what Silent Hill is. And so it's a good opportunity. They should, but it's also a good opportunity for them to say like, hey, we're still Konami and we're still putting out horror games. Here's a new franchise that we've developed in partnership with this other studio that's been making horror games in the last 10 years that we've been absent.
Or, and guys,
or
or
Oh my fucking
give me a
shit!
new-
I swear to
give
Christ.
me a new Castlevania game, or just give me a new
Yeah.
Castlevania game. You know, like that's like modeled like Bloodborne. You could even just make it Bloodborne, and I play as Simon Belmont, and I'll be all right.
Dom personally will voice the voice of Simon Belmont.
Right.
No, I mean, to your point though, I think that's a well that you can always go back to, and a great example recently was Fatal Frame, coming back from Nintendo. So, I mean, the horror trope is never going to run out. There's a reason that there's such a successful podcast called Terror Incognito that you, Sam, are a co-host of. People
Formerly
want to be
successful.
scared. Wow,
But-
it's always success in my book, man. You're
Well,
as
apparently
only
my
as you're-
co-hosts are going to Scares That Care potentially, at least for the day next month. August. Yeah, that's next month, right? I unfortunately can't go. Saturday's my solo day with the baby, so I gotta hang out at home. But that
Well,
that
dude,
will be our foray back into the horror community this year.
Well, whatever content you guys throw out there, our channel will always resubmit, throw back out. We love the show. But it's back to the point is like that you're never going to run out of things that are scary and spooky and as you guys say, spoopy. Spoopy. But the thing that really kind of resonates with me is that, it doesn't matter, what age, if you haven't heard of Silent Hill, there's always that first time, right? You're always the first time you watch a Halloween movie, you're always going to remember your first one. So hopefully it comes back around and we get a rebirth of that franchise with this new generation. But speaking of things, kind of boning real quick, I don't want to catch up.
No. I want to ask a question. I don't want to take up too much time with this because I know we got a lot of shit to cover. But I have a question for both of you because I think it's relevant.
Okay.
At what point? Because you mentioned Fatal Frame. We haven't had a Fatal Frame in many years. I mean, GameCube was the last Fatal Frame that came out, right? Or was it PlayStation 2? It was like
Wasn't it the
PlayStation
same time, right?
Same time.
Yeah.
At what point is a remaster or a remake warranted? Like,
Never.
I don't give a shit. Nah, I don't think it's never because I don't give a shit about The Last of Us getting remade for PlayStation 5 or remastered for PlayStation 5. It came out for PlayStation 4. But let's take a game like, what was an example? Shadow of the Colossus. When that got remastered or remade for PlayStation 4.
Yeah.
And it was a PlayStation 2 game. And they like rebuilt it from the ground up. And it seemed like a brand new game.
And I think that's the only time. So you're seeing, we were already talking about Sony, so let's keep going that direction. I mean, you're seeing it with Final Fantasy VII.
Is Sony too. Let's definitely keep on it.
Right.
Like, you're seeing,
so Final Fantasy 7. Yeah.
And so like 7 came out, and not only did they add a bunch of shit to the first game that wasn't in there originally, they've already come out and said that the next one is going to be like a radical departure from what the original Final Fantasy VII was. So I feel like if you've gone that far, like time-wise between when the original game came out and when the remaster's coming out, or if there's just been like such a substantial change in the available hardware, like what they did with Shadow of Colossus, that's really the only time it's warranted. That, and if there's enough people that are actually interested, don't just do it for the sake of doing it.
But do you think there's a way for games to do a terrible example, what Star Trek kind of did, right? You had all the Star Trek movies, the original series, etc., and then you had this time divergence, with Leonard Nimoy going back in time, and a whole new timeline went out. Different technology, same characters, slightly different story. It's not necessarily a remake or a reboot. It's just like a deviation.
Yeah.
I guess to me, like, that would be a more interesting take on it. Having said that, it's Final Fantasy as an example. So I think it's going to be hard to like sell that as a storyline. Like, oh, all of our Cloud just walked through a portal and now he's appeared in the past.
I feel like that's happened in games, and I feel like I've seen it. I think it's funny you bring up Star Trek. I watched the Chris Pine Star Trek, the first one, like 2 days ago while working.
I enjoy that movie.
I fucking love that movie.
I think it was great.
The whole second one with like Benedict Cumberbatch, Khan, and it's Wrath of Khan, but it's not Wrath of Khan.
Yeah.
was still enjoyable.
Missed on a couple beats.
A few beats. But
the tribbles, yeah.
I agree with you, Ernie, that I would love to see a kind of time divergent like that, where you have a main character that goes back or something changes and we get to see something from a different perspective. Like, so they did it with Devil May Cry, the special editions when they came out with Devil May Cry 3, Devil May Cry 4, and Devil May Cry 5, where in Devil May Cry 5, the beginning of the story is Nero gets his arm chopped off and you don't know why that's the case. And there's this guy named V who's also there. But in the special edition, you can play as Virgil, and Virgil's Dante's brother, who's actually the main villain of Devil May Cry 5, but you get to see at least the beginning of that story from his perspective. Same game, but the story beats are completely different because you get to see how that goes.
See, I would definitely play and or
Right.
watch that game.
Right.
All day. Somebody playing that game from that different point of view. It's the same thing with any real movie that's got a huge history behind it. I mean, even the murderer version of any horror films, like I would watch that all day.
That ends up being like the equivalent of a director's cut. So it's, you know, I'd consider that to be different than a remaster, though. So, you know, a director's cut from a movie, where you're getting the stuff that was left on the cutting room floor, and the director's original vision. With these like director's cut games or like these anniversary collections or whatever, where you're getting this expanded content. A lot of times it was stuff that was originally planned that just got left out, just because of things like crunch, and deadlines got to be met. I feel like remasters in video games, though, tend to just be like up-resing.
They do now. Right now they do. Like the remasters are absolutely, it feels like they're just up-resing. It's like hey,
Tony Hawk, and you mentioned it earlier. Tony Hawk did like a anniversary collection a few years ago.
Yeah.
It was like Tony Hawk 1 and 2 put together, or like 1 through 3. And then like 6 or 7 months ago, they just put out like remastered edition of 1 and 2.
Right.
Which is exactly the same. It's just up-resed. And I don't get it. I don't know why that's a thing.
Because that cash cow cashes. I mean, it's just you've got a community that's going to pay to see it, and it's never going to end. But let's talk about one other thing still on Sony. They're not changing too much.
I don't mean to keep derailing us, but I wanted to.
No, you're good. You're good, brother. I'm actually really excited for the next 75 other topics. So I hope everybody watching is here for another hour. So the last one for the state of gaming, still Sony centric. Sony actually just bought Nixxes. So we talked about last week. They made some other big acquisitions. We talked about this might be their kind of foray into buying a bunch of smaller studios, or let's say smaller compared to Sony, smaller studios, so that they can then start having their own type of Game Pass, air quotes, Game Pass, and little games that they can release as they please. And they've got a whole bunch of creative teams, a bunch of new content, new storylines, etc. And I think this is kind of going to start coming into play, because we're already starting to notice they're not at E3. Their state of play was kind of lackluster. I think next year is going to be even bigger, and then I'm probably giving you a little bit of grace here of 2023 being like this just giant load of games. It's too smart not to do it, because Xbox is just beating you at every turn with the amount of games that are coming out on a subscription service. You have to get in the game or you're going to lose.
And I'm here for it.
Yeah, Nixxes is super interesting. Nixxes doesn't make its own games. Nixxes is known for porting existing games to PC. So they were responsible for Shadow of the Tomb Raider, and then Marvel's Avengers. So it looks like they do a lot of work with Square Enix and Crystal Dynamics.
Well, Nixxes was owned by Square Enix.
Right. Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
And then got sold, and they got spun off, I think, separately, independently before this. as like a not really a subsidiary, but kind of a subsidiary because they were part of them. And then Sony was just like, all right, we'll take it.
I would love for them to utilize this studio to start porting their games to PC. I think that's a large
it's
market.
It's got to be the play, man. It's got to be the play.
They're missing that market.
Well,
they
did
Xbox
they
Game Pass
really
on
good
PC
traction
already. Why would you not do that with PlayStation? Why would PlayStation not do the same exact marketing model and then? Granted, you're not going to be like, integrated with Windows 11. Here's a button on every.
So they got
really did it.
They got great traction with Horizon Zero Dawn.
Yeah, that went gangbusters
that's how I
on
played
PC.
it.
Yeah,
that's how I played it. And that game was awesome and it looked incredible. And I had to buy a new computer in order to play it because my old one was so like junky and a piece of shit. But I
how'd
didn't
you get a video
that,
card?
I waited a little bit, and I had a PC builder put everything together instead of ordering the parts independently because it was easier to get a card that way.
Nice.
But Horizon Zero Dawn, played that on PC. All of the Final Fantasy ports are over on PC now.
Yeah.
And I've played a bunch of them. Sony's already said that the 7 remake will come out on PC once the PlayStation exclusive is over, which I think they said is a year.
Yeah.
So that's going to get ported. I think this is their like first shot back to creating their version of Game Pass, because I think you're right with what you said. They don't have an option at this point, especially as hard as it is to get the console itself.
Right. PlayStation now is not the option because it's not nearly as good.
And I'd like to play Returnal. It sounds cool.
I would like to play Returnal.
Awesome. So, any other Sony or PlayStation?
I'm done. I promise.
I don't want to change subjects. There's plenty. Dom, I've got great news, buddy. Every week we've got another episode.
No, we don't have to fit it all in one. I know. I'm sorry.
Even better, we've got Sam for 2 more episodes, unless he wants to hang around for more. Yeah.
Hey, I'm gonna get on a Destiny train with you guys, though.
Dude, I'm in, dude.
I found it.
Play Destiny.
I found my install. It is on this computer.
Oh, Sam, I don't know if you can see it through the camera, but nobody else can. I can see that Dom's nips just they're little turkey duns. Yeah, you know what I mean?
I play Destiny.
He's smuggling diamonds over there. Speaking of smuggling diamonds, guess what comes out tomorrow? Black Widow is coming out on Disney Plus and in theaters.
I'm
I honestly
surprised that you're even doing this episode right now. I know a lot of people that are lining up at theaters.
I mean,
and by a lot, I mean 3, which sounds like a lot for theaters these days.
I mean, to be fair, I enjoy the franchise. Marvel, most things I will watch Marvel. Well, let's be honest, everything I'll probably watch Marvel. But I'm not quite ready to go back to the theater for this in general. But
yeah,
I will do a quick synopsis for this one. In Marvel Studios' action-packed spy thriller Black Widow, Natasha Romanoff, aka Black Widow, confronts the darker parts of her ledger when a dangerous conspiracy with ties to her past arises. Pursued by a force that will stop at nothing to bring her down, Natasha must deal with her history as a spy and the broken relationships left in her wake long before she became an Avenger. Dun dun dun.
I have 2 questions about this movie. 1, when the fuck does it take place? Because
in the past.
Is it in the past?
Because she's
How
dead.
cool would it be is if the first part of this movie she's
Spoiler
falling,
alert.
she's falling, and this is just a flashback in her mind, like her life is flashing before her eyes, and this would be that movie.
And what, like a door from the TVA opens and she just
not like
it?
But I'm just saying it would be a flashback. That would be sweet. I didn't know that.
So the movie just ends with her dying.
Yeah,
in real time.
The movie just that's it. She's on the ground. And Hawkeye with his faux hawk.
I mean, that would actually be pretty creative and funny.
Right. It's like Casino, right?
Crying as they exit the theater. It would be so good. I'm definitely excited for the movie. I think
me too.
To me, I mean, we've got David Arbor, who anybody who plays a sheriff of a town called Hawkins will always have a warm place in my heart. Plus, he's like me. If I was trying to be Captain America, I'm a little hefty, a little chunky, got some curves where I want them, but it still fits. Like I would love, and plus, Rachel Weisz, she still got it. And Florence Pugh, she's up and coming. She might as well just be
I love
like
Florence Pugh.
she is a superstar, man. How do you go from doing Midsummer straight into Little Women? Those are two different movies.
She's great.
I just watched Midsummer. Yeah, I couldn't believe it was her.
It was like a 1 or 2 day difference. I don't mean like between the movies coming out. I mean from her shooting her last day of Midsummer, it was like 1 or 2 days to shooting for Little Women, bro. Bro, I don't know what kind of like waterboarding you got to go through personally to like switch your brain like that, but that was incredible. So it's.
I wouldn't have even come across this had you guys not invited me on to do this with you, because I don't really care about Black Widow. I've never cared about Black Widow as a character, so I wouldn't have ever even looked this up. And I'm not even entirely. I think I just typed in like just Black Widow, and it was like the first result that came up. Did you see what Steven Dorff said?
Yeah, Steven Dorff's like, you know,
the guy.
I'm sorry, Steven Dorff from Blade.
Yes,
yeah,
that guy from Blade. This is his quote. I still hunt out the good shit because I don't want to be in Black Widow. When asked about his process of accepting or passing on roles he's offered, Black Widow looks like garbage to me. It looks like a bad video game, and I'm embarrassed for those people. I'm embarrassed for Scarlett. I'm sure she got paid $5 or $7 million, but I'm embarrassed for her. This is the guy from Blade.
Not just Blade, okay? Not just Blade. My boy was in that stupid movie. Oh man.
I got one ready to go.
Wasn't it? What is it? No, tell me.
No, I was gonna say that his terrible role in the movie The Immortals,
right,
with Henry Cavill and what's his face? Oh goddamn, Mickey Rourke. Like, oh really? We're throwing stones here, brother. Like,
and Blade was a Marvel movie. That's the funniest shit.
Guess who they're not inviting back for the next Blade? Fucking Steven Dorff.
Steven Dorff is in a movie called American Hero that came out 6 fucking years ago, where he plays what looks like a Joe Dirt knockoff with a Captain America t-shirt, and Eddie Griffin is in a wheelchair. Yet my man is like, hey, Scarlett, I'm ashamed for you.
So in this article, the 3 tweets that were quoted, 1, nobody tells Steven Dorff that Blade was a comic book movie. 2, Steven Dorff hasn't actually been in a good movie since Blade, so he can keep that opinion to himself. And the 3rd one was, I don't want to be presumptuous, but I don't think the next Kubrick will be looking to cast Steven Dorff.
Nope. Dude, I mean, there's one way to stay relevant, I guess, is to like just ping people who are just having success doing whatever they want to do. Let's be real. You could have told me like, hey Ernie, we're going to pay you any amount of money, and you're going to be opposite any of these actors and actresses. I would do it. I don't care. Fuck you, Steven Dorff. Thank you very much. But that's so. I'm sorry. That's my brain has been sledgehammered by that.
So
like of all things that you were gonna say, Steven Dorff coming up was not gonna be it. Like,
that is the contribution that I bring to things like this. I find the deep cuts. I'm like the best and worst DJ you never wanted.
Well, personally, it comes out, I guess, on Disney Plus. I think it's tomorrow. It's probably Extreme Access or whatever it's called. I'm gonna pay to watch it. I mean, I'm not gonna go to the theater. I got my own popcorn here, as you can see by my pantry in the background. I'm gonna, shake my little cheddar dust on top of my popcorn. I'm gonna watch this movie. It's gonna be great.
I have to wait till my wife gets back from being in Hampton Roads, and I'm really tempted to just buy it on Disney Plus and watch it without her. But
wait, you have to pay for it separately, independently?
Yeah, if you do it on Disney Plus, yeah, it's like that premium subscription. I think it's $19.99. Not a subscription, but it's like a premium. You got to pay $19.99 to get it.
Huh. Well, this is, I think, one of the first couple of Marvel things that are going to make you pay. So we've got Shang-Chi coming out. We've got the Eternals. I'm definitely going to pay for. I mean, I paid for all the other movies. Actually, in my phone the other day, I was like, man, what was the last movie I went and saw? And like literally out of the 10, the last I saw in theaters, all those digital tickets, they're all Marvel movies. I'm going to pay again.
I saw Fast 9 in theaters, so
I'm not judging. I'm not judging. I'm not judging at all. How
I don't think you're going to be able to pay to get Shang-Chi and Eternals on Disney Plus. I think those are only coming to theaters.
Really? You think by the
Yeah, I think
time
Black
COVID's
Widow's the
gonna be
last
past
one
and-
that they said that they were going to do that with.
I kind of miss it, man. HBO Max, everything coming straight out on HBO Max was a godsend.
It's still, at least HBO Max, you're still going to get through the end of the year on, right? You're supposed to get
Yeah, I
Dune,
think so.
which I'll watch here on my TV. I'll probably go see Black Widow in theaters. I probably will. My wife will be like, it's a Marvel movie. We've seen every single Marvel movie in theaters. We have to go see this.
Like, there's definitely something to be said about like 140-inch screen and the best surround sound money can buy.
THX.
But there's also something to be said about like not having to spend $30 to go see a movie.
Or I have to pee. Let me just pause the movie.
Yeah.
Honestly, I would hold any kind of bathroom break. I just don't want to hear anybody coughing or like commenting near me or like.
There you go.
You know what I mean? Like,
But,
And if they
did you
are
see
talking, if you're at
Endgame
home,
on
you can press
opening night?
rewind.
Did you see Endgame on opening night, Ernie?
actually, yes, I sure did. And you know
Come
what
on,
I
man.
didn't hear? You know what I didn't hear? Anything over the sound of like 14 people in front of me yelling "Bombay" at full volume, as if they were screaming it, as if Chadwick Boseman could hear them. And you know what? I got fucking excited about it. It was the first and only time that I was in a movie theater and I heard like just screaming at this scene, and I was like, "Yes, Bombay!" I just joined in. They were like, "What? No, sir, no."
I usually get really annoyed at people who
"Go
talk
fuck
during
yourself."
movies.
I'm excited about it too. But and then I teared up when the hammer.
Cap caught the shit. When Cap caught the hammer. Oh, fuck. So good. All right.
Yeah, I digress.
I'll probably go see
Next
it.
topic. Moving right along before we start weeping on video. Star Wars Visions. You know what this is? I don't.
This is fucking awesome. Okay, I'm really excited about this. Actually,
Thank you, pick this up. I appreciate you, buddy.
do you guys remember the Animatrix?
Yeah.
When that
Yes.
came out, it was an anthology of animated things done by different studios in the Matrix universe.
Yes.
This is the same thing, but with Star Wars.
Oh, that's pretty
And
dope.
it's done by famous Japanese anime studios. So there are I think it's 9 of them. They're all done by very big studios. Some of the more famous animes. I think the guy who did Demon Slayer is in this. I think I want to say Cowboy Bebop. There's a whole lot of clout behind this, and it's like it looks really cool. It had that same kind of the trailer. If you watch the Star Wars Visions trailer, it has that same kind of style that the Animatrix had. Or I don't know if you saw, there was Batman Ninja that came out
Yes.
earlier last year. It has that same kind of style and feel to it. I love shit like this. This is probably the one Star Wars like animated thing. Other than, Bad Batch is incredible. I'm really excited for this. So this comes out on September 22nd, and it's 7 studios, and I think they'll do one a week, like they're doing for all of their releases. And I can't wait to watch it.
That sounds pretty dope.
I guess my only question is, and maybe we don't know yet, is this going to be the content that's on this? It's canon though, right?
I don't know.
You know, we're concerned because like the Animatrix, that a lot of that was canon. We will straight into the movies with that. So I'm curious if that's going to maintain. If it is, I have to watch it. It's the same, like unless it's like What If, from the Marvel universe where we get these different, alternate versions of different storylines. But yeah, I'm definitely going to watch all of this. This could be awesome.
So the first one is The Duel, is a forthcoming animated short film and episode of the show Star Wars Vision, produced by Kamikaze Duga. The short is scheduled to premiere on Disney+. It focuses on the Jedi and Sith, but with an alternate history pulled from Japanese lore. Ronin, by Emma Maiko Kandon, ties directly to the world of The Duel.
And
so it looks like
being turned into a new novel already.
It looks like they're taking, at least for The Duel, they're taking a Japanese folktale or lore, like Japanese story, and they're applying it to the story of the Sith and Jedi. which is
See, that's
fucking
pretty
sweet.
cool.
Fuck yeah,
Yeah,
I'm
so-
in.
This is a really interesting play by them to get people that may or may not have kind of fallen off the Star Wars hype train back
Yeah.
into it potentially.
Hell yeah.
The animation style looks fucking sweet too.
I'm so
I'm in.
about it. Speaking to being stoked, I'm actually really excited about this next one.
I know you are, dude. You love your sports games, dude.
I like my sports games. You know what sports games I do like? It's none of them that are like, oh, this is Madden or this is NCAA football.
That does need to come back though. I don't care what you say.
That
does need to come
I'll
back.
play it.
They're getting,
I'll play it.
athletes are getting paid now. Thank you, Supreme Court. Let's go. EA Sports, bring back NCAA football.
I mean, I'm not a jerk or whatever, but like, I definitely want to see like games like this return.
Boy,
Give me
let me get
some.
NBA Street back.
NBA Street would be dope. The one game that I want, and I don't even know who would own the rights to it because it was made by Midway, and I know Midway got bought up by like a bunch of different companies.
Oh,
I
no.
want NFL Blitz to come
I
back.
knew you were gonna say it. NFL Blitz, which is
Either
the
that,
NBA
I either want
Street.
Blitz or
Yeah.
Mutant League Football.
Hell yeah,
Mutant League football. And actually,
But yeah, EA Big had a lot of fun titles.
EA Big had a lot of really good titles.
Yeah, Fight Night was
Night's another
dope.
one,
I
too.
love that
Fight Night's
franchise.
sweet, dude.
And that's like, I remember that game looking really good when it came out to the point where like,
First time, Fight Night Round 3.
yeah,
When that came out, yeah, that looked gorgeous. First time.
I think one of the comments here on Twitter right now we're looking at Oxgod. What a great name! Oxgod's Twitter. One of his lead comments shows. Let's not forget head coach. NFL head coach. Yeah, no longer the head coach. You know what I'm saying? And then of course MVP baseball 2005. Yeah, no.
That's the one thing we don't need is baseball because MLB The Show now is for both
It's-
Xbox and PlayStation.
Yeah,
and
that
it's
is
just going
the
to be
baseball
far
game
and
to have.
above
Yeah,
anything. Yeah,
I mean
Yeah,
that
with a
game was
big
always
old
like, that
PlayStation
was always
emblem on
better than the alternative. And it sucked that it was always a PlayStation exclusive, but now it's on both.
Yeah.
So
I don't
But
think
I
it's
mean-
going to be Skate because we've already know that Skate's coming back. That's already been formally announced. But I'd love to see Blitz. I'd love to see Street. I would love to see Fight Night. I mean, any of those coming back would be fucking sweet.
I think there's definitely a lot here. And it was Def Jam in that same grouping, or who owns Def Jam? I feel like there's
Def Jam Fight for New York.
because I know there's been a little bit of buzz, especially
That was game published by EA.
so
Shit,
Box Logic
yo.
on Twitter has definitely been putting out a lot of content, kind of doing a little bit of like, you know, what he does, but Boss Logic, his little, you know, different photoshops of things to come out and just kind of feeling the hype. Even some people from Def Jam being like, yo, y'all want this game back? Whatever. Like,
If I could play
yes,
as
we do. Yes, we fucking do.
DMX and beat the fuck out of Tekashi 6ix9ine, I'm in. I'll go
my
broke buying that
God.
game.
dude, that's a second mortgage moment right there.
There you go.
That's like that sentence right there. Just I don't know. That made me feel things that I haven't felt in a long time.
What y'all really want? Tekashi 6ix9ine to get the fuck beat by DMX. That's what's up. That's awesome. I'm loving this episode. Next one, completely different kind of thing.
Oh wait, real quick.
Oh,
EA Sports did buy the rights to NFL Blitz.
No, that's the one. Then we're getting that. That's the one we're getting
dude.
back.
Oh,
Because I
Oh.
forgot they put out Blitz the League.
That's right.
that's right.
Oh, hell yeah, it's coming. Yeah.
See, Sam's stoked now. Sam is hot. He's like, yes,
Yeah.
we're getting
Yeah.
Blitz.
Never going
Sam,
back to work in the office.
I feel like I just watched you rub your arm. Did you just get chills thinking about
Yeah.
that too? Because, dude, many beers chased by many fumbles and interceptions, many a drunk night. I can't
Hell
wait for
yeah.
that game. Hopefully
yeah,
that's what's
dude.
coming back. But I don't really have a good segue into this next topic. I didn't really order this show properly, but you know, here we go. Black Panther, Wakanda Forever. Obviously, we already know the terrible news. Chadwick Boseman, RIP. But this is seems to be they've already started production. So I'm curious how they're going to handle his departure. You know, if they're going to somehow pull a Paul Walker. You know, he's always just
Don't say that.
having
I thought
babies
the,
and
I thought the
stuff
Paul
somewhere
Walker
else.
thing was his brother.
No.
I thought they used his brother.
Have you watched any of the Fast and Furiouses after the one he died?
Yeah, they're always just like referencing like he got out of
He's
the
just
life.
like he's at home with the baby.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
This ain't their
Even in the
fight.
last one, he's at home with the baby.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's
This
on
is
dad
gonna
duty.
Yeah,
this is going to be
exactly.
Marvel's make or break moment. I think it's going to be the way that they handle this.
So you
They
don't think they're just
can't
gonna pull
do-
like a Star Wars and they're just gonna CG that motherfucker in?
I don't think so.
I don't think you could, man.
I
don't
think they're
you
gonna
could.
fucking Lion King the
Too
fuck
soon.
out of this dude, and like the movie's gonna open. It's gonna be Wakanda at night, and it's gonna be torches, and it's gonna be Angela Bassett. Okay,
just
fucking
crying.
full on Queen gear,
Just
crying, and she says the king is dead, and everybody goes Ibom Bay, and I'm it. Like that's it. I'm out. That's the best movie that's ever come out. I'm
That's
good.
it. The movie is
Yeah.
over. There's 45 seconds in.
I think they're gonna have a few.
The
I think
lights raised.
I think they're going to do that. I think that they have to do that. They have to fully embrace the fact that he passed away. There's nothing that they can. They're doing CGI, having him off screen. That's going to delay that. It's not going to feel good. It's not good for his. It's not. I don't think it does his memory justice at all. And I don't think he would have wanted that. I think that they immediately hit that right off the beginning. They do this great tribute in the beginning of the movie, and they move on to his sister or taking up the mantle, or there's talk that Killmonger's not dead and him having a redemption arc. I mean
I'm curious
I'm
if
eager.
they follow the end of that film. Kind of left it a little bit open towards them expanding into the rest of the world, right? Letting the world know that Wakanda exists, and
Because his sister took over that institute, right?
Yeah.
So, and plus there's a little joke about like, when we said we would open ourselves up to the rest of the world, I thought we would get that Starbucks like that. I hope that is where they kind of go with that. And
How do you do these voices so well? You sound exactly like.
I just watched it
Oh my
50
god!
times
You
in a
sound
row.
exactly like Okoye from the movie. Dude. Fuck! Every time you do that.
I would just hope like that's the storyline, like especially with like all of a sudden there's just a ship flying over like downtown LA or whatever it was. So hopefully that story progress. And yes, I do constantly practice those in the mirror and go, you know what,
dude,
you can't do it unless they're on a podcast where they can't see your face. It's gonna be fine. But moving right along, because this is it. Like this is here, but we don't really don't know any too many details. So except for again, Namor being rumored, blah blah blah. We talked about it on a different episode.
A problematic Mexican actor playing Namor, awesome.
Yes. And this will be a quick one actually. So the Old Guard 2 script is complete and filming is soon to start. I mean, I enjoyed the movie. A bunch of
I haven't watched it.
Immortal people doing things. I don't want to spoil it because it's just the same thing. I hate to say it, but there's a guy on this poster who kind of isn't like necessarily a good guy, and I hate to say that he's getting cast as like a bad guy in a bunch of stuff, especially like Infinite recently from Paramount. Opposite of Mark Wahlberg, he was also, I believe, in Serenity as the bad guy. Like,
are you talking about Cheadle as Ejiofor?
Yeah, man.
He was in The Martian too, and he was great in that movie. But he does play a bad guy really well.
I know, but
he plays everything really well.
He played,
exactly.
He's got a voice like butter too. That dude could
voice like butter.
I
can't do his voice. I'm not gonna fucking try.
I think he's in the Jungle Book, live action Jungle Book too. I think he's
he was
one of the.
I know that because those are like the only movies my wife likes to see in theaters.
Wasn't he Bagheera?
Yeah,
I think he was Bagheera. Yeah, that's dope.
That's not a bad.
No, he was Scar in The Lion King.
Oh, that's right. That's who he was. Yeah, he was Scar.
Another bad guy. Come on.
Yeah.
Oh, fuck, dude.
Not even on screen. He still gets typecast as a bad guy.
It's the dark skinned lion too, man. The fuck.
Thought we were past this.
What year 2021, John Favreau.
What year is it? Speaking of just what year is it? Don Cheadle says that Steven Soderbergh has his eyes set on an Ocean's 14. I guess the baby of Danny Ocean and Julia Roberts she's gonna just be like boss baby and just steal stuff. Like how are we
No,
gonna
so
spin this?
what I'm hoping for, because Steven Soderbergh, his movies aren't Oscar movies, but they're fun heist movies. Dude knows how to make a fun heist movie. And what I'm hoping for is he just keeps cranking out these Ocean's movies. So Ocean's 21 happens, and it's all these folks kids when they're adults, and they're taking up the mantle. That's what I'm hoping for. The long game, and Steven Soderbergh will be like 104.
What if it's
I've never seen an Ocean's movie.
What?
I've never seen one.
What?
Yeah, I've never seen one.
Well, then this joke should be lost on you, because I'm hoping that Ocean's 21 is going to be somehow it's going to be a crossover at 21 Jump Street.
If you like,
I've seen 21 Jump Street.
If you're a fan of the Fast series, like those are just dynamite action films.
Exactly.
Like those are some great action movies. It's the same thing, just without cars.
Nice. All right.
And no Corona, or less Corona.
Yeah.
The beer.
And the main character isn't named after me.
No virus. That's true.
I hate that that's a fucking meme now, by the way, that the whole Dom family thing is, because
it's awesome.
And my name's Dom, and everybody's like, "Oh man, you guys the same name as fucking Vin Diesel," and I'm like, "Mine's spelled with a Q-E. Go to hell."
It's next one up on our topic list. We already talked about him a little bit. This good-looking motherfucker right here, Chris Pine, evidently was seen on set with some outfits for the new D&D film. He was opposite of Michelle Rodriguez. Hugh Grant's supposed to be in this. Justice Smith. Anything D&D, I'm going to be excited about it, especially live action. Just same way.
Y'all remember the last D&D movie?
Reign of Fire?
Nope.
The one
you don't remember the last Dungeons and Dragons
with
movie?
Marlon Wayans and Jeremy Irons?
Yes.
I remember that.
That was a D&D movie?
Yes, it was.
New Line Cinema. So
fuck yeah, dude.
New Line Cinema put out a lot of really good stuff in like the late 90s and early 2000s, but they also put out a lot of dog shit because they were just like they're just taking in all this money from like all their horror movies that they were putting out.
Fuck yeah, man.
They're like, yeah, we'll throw money at whatever. And so yeah, you end up with things like that. Where you try to
hear Jeremy Irons bitching at Scarlett Johansson for being in a fucking Avengers movie.
Well, what just happened? Oh, there it is.
I love that the fade to black came out and just saw Chris Pine's face. Dude.
Well, now I learned a new shortcut actually. So granted, I have no details about this movie other than the fact that this good-looking motherfucker's in it. But this is actually a good kind of halfway point. If anybody wants any bio breaks, I encourage those now. We can do those. But,
yeah, I think that's a good idea because we have still a lot to talk about. I just want to grab a bottle of water.
Anybody else interested? I'm gonna go 3, 2, 1. That's nope. Here it is. Fade to black.
More Chris Pine.
All right. More Chris Pine. Hang on. I've got to reset. If I don't reset, I'm gonna pee my pants.
Yeah, I got to do that too.
We'll be back in a few minutes. Peace.
All right.
Welcome back, everybody. Hey, everybody. Thanks you for letting us have that bio break. God, I need it. I hate to get too in detail, but yeah, it's either going to be here or in a appropriate receptacle for my urine. But glad we had the break. Ernie's silent response. Thanks, guys.
Glad you had a good pee.
Yeah, thanks. And on a great segue, this week's sponsor.
I just think you should just put on a diaper like everything else in the house.
You know what? That's all right. Here's my favorite thing. I might have to take regular bowel movements and use the bathroom, but I'm also working out and looking great doing it. This week's sponsor is brought to you by TUFF Wraps. That's right, TUFF Wraps. Ready for it? TUFF Wraps is literally your one-stop shop for everything fitness related. No one wants to go to one stop for supplements, another place for apparel, and another place for strength and conditioning gear. And then what do I do if I want to get a workout? TUFF Wraps has you covered. You go to tuffwraps.com. You can get their supplements. You can get their clothes. This is not just gym wear. This is out and about wear. You can get gear, wraps for belts to maintain your posture when you're doing your deadlifts, things like that. But you can also sign up for TFT, their TDT, their Tough Daily Training. And for $7 a month, you get the free app, which allows you to actually get day-by-day training specific to you. So if you're trying to get bulked, you're trying to go from, a little bit of fluff to tough, you really want to work on your core. They've got workouts for everybody. And if you're buying things on the site, if you want to get supplements, the apparel, the gear, go to checkout, use code joystick for 10% off your entire purchase. Thank you. And thanks to TUFF Wraps for sponsoring the show. Man, I'm looking forward to testing out some of their gear myself. I already used TDT. My peak COVID weight was 262. I'm down to 231 now. Might be 232 because I had a pizza earlier, but that's not their fault.
A whole pizza?
I mean, I didn't get exactly on the weights. I'm making a guess here. But no, it's definitely, again, it's all about putting the work in, and it takes all the excuses out of it. As long as you just, hey, I don't have to think about it. I just say, they say do rack pulls, you do rack pulls. They say do shoulder press, you do shoulder press. You do your cardio. You can maintain a physique that you might want to get to. I'm nowhere close to where I want to be, but this will help you get there along the way. And why not get 10% off? It's a win-win. Now,
Method
on
Man,
the new releases,
TUFF Wraps. So Wu-Tang is for the children.
Let me go back. I saw that. I saw the fact that at the BET Awards, Method Man was wearing TUFF Wraps, wrist wraps. That was awesome. Not only is that dude still, looking pretty freaking young. What is he, like 6 years old now? Yeah. But he's also wearing the same accoutrement that our sponsors are providing. Dude is jacked. He's huge.
Yo, Method Man's jacked.
I want to know. Granted, I know how to get there. There's two ways: hard work and a lot of money. And then
get a Marvel movie.
Yeah, I'm hoping that all three of us get a little combination of both: a lot of money and hard work. And maybe we'll get there. The recent interview with Paul Rudd, I saw where he was like, I was so excited about getting the Ant-Man role. I figured they got a whole budget for getting in shape. No, he had to go get his own nutritionist and all this kind of stuff.
Yeah, but you make enough money from it that it's kind of like they're paying for it.
Yeah, and for me, I think it was like DC, for Superman or for 300. Mark Twight was like the trainer for the Stars for Gerard Butler and for Henry Cavill. Like, that's. I think it's rare that you see that now. We can't all be Chris Pratt, who supposedly just stopped drinking beer for 6 months and then became just yoked. But
yeah, but he also got weird. He got weird.
A little bit weird.
There was that whole thing with like his new wife, that the not Anna Faris chick, and the weird like pseudo cult religion thing.
The Arnold Schwarzenegger's daughter.
Yeah, that girl.
Yeah.
And the weird religion thing. Yeah, he got weird. It's all right. He can still kick my ass and then crush me with his wallet and kick my ass again. So I'm not gonna say too much.
With his wallet will crush you. All right. Say it louder. I would love. Yeah. Hey. Oh, by the way, now joining our episode is Chris Pratt. Oh God, that would be the craziest. Okay, I digress. Right, moving right along. New releases this week is actually pretty jam packed. Where are you at? Boop, boop, boop. New releases pretty jam packed this week. Right off the top, guess who it is?
Chris Pratt.
It's Chris Pratt. Chris Pratt. Yeah, just maintaining his beefcakeness. And now he's in a film that basically the whole premise is he is a dad with a kid and a wife, and all of a sudden, in the middle of watching TV, some soccer game, a portal opens from the future, and out walks some relatively attractive people that say, "Hey, the world is effed 30 years in the future, and you know what? We need your help." I watched this movie. I really liked it.
Really?
It was. I did because I took it for what it was. You know, it had my girl from Chuck. It had Chris Pratt. I
thought this poster was for Army of the Dead when I first saw it, to be honest, because I thought that was
it was
Taro.
Prequel to the Expendables, where they get the cast of the Expendables and find their younger versions.
Dude, it was awesome. What is his name? I literally just watched another movie with him last night. There's one actor. I'm gonna IMDb it. I'm not gonna.
J.K. Simmons.
No, that's it. Well, he's also in it. Actually, he plays.
I do like J.K. Simmons.
J.K. Simmons plays Chris Pratt's dad, who also has, by the way, J.K. Simmons.
You mean Mr. Invincible? Mr. Invincible's dad?
I'm going to tell you right now.
Omni-Man,
he is Omni-Man. That dude is jacked. Have you seen him?
J.K. Simmons or Omni-Man?
Both.
Omni-Man is jacked.
They look the same. Omni-Man's yoked.
J.K. Simmons is jacked for like old
an old guy.
Wait a minute, here's a picture. What is this picture? Holy shit!
Yeah.
He was really jacked in Whiplash.
What is this steroid Santa Claus?
I know the picture you're looking at. I know exactly the picture.
What the hell is this?
They called him Jim Gordon, Gyn Gordon. Because he's in the gym, dude, jacked. In the movie, you could tell he's shredded. I don't know if he's like method acting to be the voice of Omni-Man.
Does he live at Muscle Beach?
Terrifying. I need the internet to work faster. Go faster. Thank you. God damn it. Of course, literally the three people I know.
Is the J and J Jonah Jameson for Jack?
Jack.
Oh, my wife is definitely trying to call me right now. Okay. Yep. On the show, dear. On the show. Wow. Sam Richardson, for crying out loud. All right, there we go. So Sam Richardson, Sam Richardson, he plays like what I would call the everyman of the movie. There's an entire segment. I'm not going to say what's happening in that moment. I'm not going to say what he's doing or what they're doing, but like 45 words in a row, I think it is the word shit. And he's just shit. Just, dude, you got to watch it just for that moment and you'll appreciate it. But,
nice. Yeah, I'll give it a shot.
Dude, I'm telling you, it's worth it. All right. Next up, what movie?
Forever Purge.
I would love.
This is the Forever Purge.
You've got both of you have the list. I guess that's fair. I guess my point was this could have been any movie. This is just like cowboy badass. Hey, look, I'm scary. But I watched a little bit of this. If I hate to admit, the Purge in general. Obviously, we know the Purge. Oh, it's one day every day a year in the U.S. that we get to all laws are suspended. And we get to murder, steal, pillage, and plunder. But the Purge, the Forever Purge, is more or less a storyline where basically the United States says, one day, how about every day? How about we go Wild West?
How about we do every day that ends in Y?
Yeah, that's right. We just go Purge for life. Antics ensue. The storyline follows a family farm based out of Texas. That then some of their farm hands decide, you know what, they're tired of working for the rich farm owner. They're going to take some things in their own hands. And then outside of that are what they call the forever purgers. The new founding fathers are basically, they're losing control, and antics ensue. It's a fun movie if you are into the Purge movies, aka just like shoot everybody movies. Really, it's dystopian in the fact that there are no laws, there's no cops involved, like, but it's only Purge based because every once in a while people like this guy here on the screen wear a mask. Pretty much could be any other movie.
So I have I'm a fan of the franchise. I've given it a lot of grief, I guess, over in Terra Incognito, especially the first movie, because I feel like what they should have done, they wound up doing in the second movie, so they kind of made up for it. The TV show's been good, or was good, but I have a problem with this, where it's every day, because part of the general conceit that makes it good is there's a finite amount of time that they have to do whatever they want.
Yes.
You take that away, then there's no like suspense to it anymore. And I feel like there was another movie that was similar to this concept called The Domestics from 2018, which was great. That movie was awesome. And it was like Fallout meets The Purge. And so I feel like I don't need to see this one, but I'll probably watch it anyway.
I mean, it's, if nothing else, you just get to see different ways for people to die. You know,
yeah,
if that's what you're into, like Terra Incognito, maybe.
Yeah.
Let's get spoopy. So the next one up on our list here is so this one is No Sudden Move. Actually, you know what? I feel like we missed one. Did we miss one? Yes, we did. Do I want to save this? I want to save it. We're gonna come back. No Sudden Move. No Sudden Move. I'm coming back. I'm gonna come back. So No Sudden Move, new HBO Max movie, an ensemble cast to say the least here.
More Steven Soderbergh.
Yes, exactly. You get the same
Is it
kind
really?
of vibe.
Yeah.
Yeah, bro. You say I watched like the first 45 minutes of it earlier today. You get the same kind of vibes where you get this meets, like, Steven Soderbergh always equals kind of like a slower paced, very like casual, slick talking Guy Ritchie film in my mind. Because it's all the pieces are being slowly kind of breadcrumbed in front of you, whereas Guy Ritchie is like these little strands of story meet at the end. But this is kind of like very, very breadcrumbed. Like, you're following the story, you get a little nibble, and then finally you're like, oh, okay, cool. Well, so far in the film, I've already seen the main actors. You got Don Cheadle, Brendan Fraser, Benicio del Toro, Kieran Culkin, David Harbour. Brendan Fraser, let me tell you right now, I know he's gained some weight. That's fine. He's in Doom Patrol,
which is really good.
I love that series. He plays that robot. He crushes it. But I could care less what Brendan Fraser looks like. That man can fucking act.
I think we just need to stop holding him to the fucking standard of The Mummy. The Mummy came out like 25 years ago.
I don't hold him to that standard. I hold him to ultimate dad bod standard from Monkey Bone.
Oh, there you go.
To me, so Brendan Fraser is doing what Alec Baldwin did like 10, 15 years ago. Went from like Beetlejuice bod to 30 Rock, right? There's a transition period, and I think Brendan Fraser is definitely hitting all those notes, and he's crushing it. And the more I can get of Brendan Fraser, the more I'm going to watch it, and the more I'm going to love it. But so far, the movie's
that's awesome. Yeah, I want to watch it. I have not heard of this movie. I'm really excited now.
I mean, Kieran Culkin, to say that he's made lemonade out of lemons, holy shit.
I've heard it favorably compared to like The Usual Suspects.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah, I've heard a lot of good things about this movie. But again, like everybody says, like, you say as many good things about this movie as you want, and the ensemble cast and the acting and everything. It's a Steven Soderbergh heist movie, and he's never made a bad one.
Yeah, I mean,
it's the one thing he knows how to do really, really
I'm about to
well.
come
He's
back
gonna do it
next
until the
week
heat
and
death
be
of the
like,
universe.
I'm going to have to come back next week and seen all the Oceans movie. And be like, all right,
oh man,
hour and a half podcast. We're gonna go from the beginning to the end, all Oceans movies.
dude, you joke. When I'm working, I'll throw that on the background. I feel like I'm smarter, just because it's such a wibbly wobbly, timey-wimey adventure.
Nice.
But definitely worth watching, even if it's just the 45 minutes I've watched so far.
Yeah.
Again,
What
David
is it on?
Harbour, HBO Max.
Awesome, cool.
Yes. Next one we're gonna hit before the one I want to go back to, Rick and Morty. Sam, you're a fan, yeah?
It's been a while since I've watched it.
No, I'm by
It's been a
myself.
while.
Your partner in crime is gone.
I saw the Pickle Rick stuff and then got sidetracked afterwards.
Where's
So,
Mahaffey when I need him? Oh,
little late to this one.
let's
That's
do what
okay,
we
me
typically
too.
do when Mahaffey's not here. Let's go. Hey, Mahaffey, what do you think? All right, cool. This episode, to me, if you're already seeing on the screen here, for those that are listening on your podcast, it's a screenshot of what looks to be like a female Captain America, and it's exactly what it is. The story's kind of divided in half. Rick gets to go with his granddaughter Summer. They go off to what is ultimately 3 planets Armageddon, and they're going to party like it's 1999 on all 3 planets. Antics ensue. Morty is actually out with Rick on an adventure. The rain suddenly turns to acid. All their clothes start to burning off. Like, what the fuck is happening? And then all of a sudden, this Allison Brie voiced creature shows up out of nowhere, start trying to save the planet, and it's more or less a Captain Planet parody. Except for having, teens who are really jovial, like earth, wind, water, heart. It's like really jaded 40-year-old to 50-year-old people who still have the rings and thus control of this Captain Planet person. And Morty tries to then gain control of those rings because he is totally in love with this air quotes here, sexy cartoon lady that is hooking up with him because, why not? Great dialogue, stupid premise, but that's my favorite thing about Rick and Morty is all the old throwbacks, all the little bits of nostalgia whenever I can get my hands on it. But since you guys haven't seen it, we'll roll back to the ones we might have seen. Bling! Oh, Sam.
I'm obviously not invited back after what I'm about to say for this.
Oh, he doesn't like it. You don't like Loki, do you?
It's not that I don't like it.
He ain't seen it.
I ain't seen it. All right, so the last Marvel movie that I watched was an accident, and it was Black Panther.
Oh, I was gonna say, what movie was that?
So I saw that one by accident because, strangely enough, my wife was watching it.
He thought he was going to Black Christmas because he watches horror movies and it was Black Panther.
That's racist, man. That's
and so like I missed like
Christmas.
the first 15 minutes of it. And I was really surprised that she was watching it in the first place because she doesn't give a shit about Marvel movies. But then I realized that Michael B. Jordan's like her favorite person on earth. So I was like, all right. So like, do you need me to like leave you alone so you can watch this in private, or can I watch it with you? So I saw Black Panther. I think prior to that, the last one that I saw was probably like.
Did you say Iron Man 2? Iron
Man. No, I saw Iron Man 3.
Okay.
I know I saw the first Thor. Like I've seen at least the first of like all of them. So like I saw Avengers, but I never saw Age of Ultron.
Perfect. It's all that matters because in Avengers, what happens? Loki is defeated by the Avengers, and everything else happens after that, right? So Loki kicks off. Just a quick recap. Kicks off with the fast forward the events of Avengers Endgame, where they go back in time to the events of the movie you saw, 2012 Avengers, and
10
then
years ago.
Yeah, and Loki escapes. It's an alternate timeline kind of wibbly wobbly thing. He escapes, and there's this organization called the TVA, the Time Variant Agency or whatever. They grab him, and antics ensue. This episode Oh man, I enjoyed the episode because of many things. Are you gonna watch the series or not? I'm okay with spoiling if you could give a shit.
Me?
Yeah.
Oh, dude, I don't care about spoilers.
You don't
You're
care.
the special guest. I will.
Did you ever listen to any of our podcast episodes?
All right.
We spoil movies that have
fine.
been out for like 3 days.
Touche. So Sam, you've seen this? No, sorry, Dom, you've seen this?
Yeah, I watched it today.
That's what's up. All right, perfect.
Yeah.
So this episode where we basically just get dropped into the end of time, and there's like all the different kinds of Lokis. My favorite
Yeah.
thing was playing like hide and seek and little hunt and peck and what's
Yep.
the difference between this picture and that picture. You got the Thanos copter randomly at the end of time, which is from the comics. We've got I thought it was Throg, which is Thor as a frog, but I guess it's not.
That's what I thought too.
In a little glass jar. We've got an alligator version of Loki. So throughout the series, you see different variants of Loki, and I guess they are crazy different variants. But Richard, I think was his name, Richard E. Grant, he plays like this classic Loki, and according to an article online, it was like that his version of Loki, that old kind of Kermit the Frog looking version of Loki, he's based off the idea of what if Loki really did not die at the end of Endgame and was able to fool Thanos into actually thinking he killed Loki and then just ran for the hills. That's what he turns into, is just this old goober person. But the whole episode is pretty fun. It's definitely the goofiest show, and Sam, I encourage you to watch it only because Owen Wilson's in it, and as you know, we enjoy some Owen Wilson. Wow.
So
They came out and said he doesn't say it once in the whole show.
oh, then what the fuck is the point of watching?
they did. They come
I'm
out
out.
and say they don't
I'm
say
out.
it it's once in the whole show.
No, it's cool. I'm gonna queue up the 10 hours of Owen Wilson saying "wow" on YouTube and just like
Wow.
keep hitting it every time.
I just
But
love where they put
that begs
Wow
the question.
over John Wick.
So the show picks up after the first Avengers movie.
In a sorts, yes, in a different timeline.
Yeah, but at this point, there are enough pieces from like the later Marvel universe that if you haven't seen that stuff, it won't make complete sense.
Straight up, you don't need to see any movie after the 2012 Avengers movie, because
Okay.
this
They
Loki,
sum up
yeah,
him really well in this for you to come in and just be like, all right, I want to watch this. And then I think it's the first episode, right?
yeah,
Where
it's
they
first
go
episode.
they go through his whole, hey, what happened after Avengers 1?
Because this
And he kind
Loki
of lives
is
through what happens.
he's snatched out of time, so he has no idea what the rest of us goobers have seen at the movie theaters and paid too much money for. So he has none of this knowledge, and you as the show watcher you would get to enjoy that from his point of view. And it's to me it's fun because it just doesn't take itself too seriously, which is very much why I like, the Thor Ragnarok movie, because Taika Waititi, same thing, didn't take it too seriously. You've got, even just looking at this movie poster, you got all this screen space here. You've got a couple of people who look really aggressive and like, oh, what's this? Oh, there's Owen Wilson. And then we've got like a holographic looking clock person. Like, so if that gives you any indication on how serious you should take it, that's how serious you should take it.
I was gonna say, like, if you look at this poster and you take out the little cartoon clock thing on the bottom left, and maybe change the helmet that the person over his shoulder is wearing, like, this looks like a weird Sherlock Holmes.
I mean, there's
I was gonna go Doctor Who, but yeah,
Or
you're
yeah, Doctor
absolutely
Who
right.
works.
There's
Yeah,
mystery
Doctor Who
involved. Yeah.
Because my only issue with like the MCU in general is just like there's too much of it. There's so much of it, and it's like at a certain point it got to the point where it was impossible to keep up. And the only way to try to keep up was to go back and watch all the shit that I hadn't watched. And I've got friends that do like the annual challenge where they try to watch everything like either chronologically via release date or chronologically based on like the storylines.
That's
And it's
exhausting.
like 35 movies. And I can't really say that's a lot considering I've watched like on average like 60 or 70 new releases a year for the last like 4 years of horror movies. So like it's not the amount of movies, it's just the amount of time dedicated just to Marvel movies.
Yeah.
And the fact that like Disney's shown their roadmap, Marvel showed their roadmap. There's another decade of this shit. And that's just the movies. That's not even the TV shows.
So this doesn't involve any of that. I mean, there's no Captain America, there's no Iron Man, there's no. I mean, Thor obviously is related, but like it's alluded to really at the most. So if you are into just like, hey, I'd love to have a break, this is where you go. All Plus, right. Tom Hiddleston acts his ass off. It's great.
He's fun.
And Owen Wilson acts his ass off in the whole show.
Wow. All right. Now for our final round, the reason for the season, Sam, thank you. Once again, our spooky correspondent. This is where I hope we take some time and really enjoy ourselves because I love this movie.
I thought it was great. I thought it was so fun.
Fear Street Part 1, 1994, based off the book series by R.L. Stine. The synopsis is pretty basic. A circle of teenage friends accidentally encounter the ancient evil responsible for a series of brutal murders that have plagued their town for over 300 years. Welcome to Shadyside. Da, 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 da.
I live about 15 minutes from Shadyside. I do. I live 15 minutes from Shadyside. No, it doesn't.
It's not in California, ain't it?
I think it takes place in California because the other town is Sunnydale, which
what? Isn't that
is
Buffy?
Either Sunnyvale is Buffy. Sunnydale is where you stay when you go to Genius Training for Apple.
Oh, that's why I know the name. That's fair. That's fair. This movie actually really first things first. It kind of takes place, in this kind of town, 1994. I love 1994. Why do I love it? Because I didn't have to pay taxes yet. The other reason I like it is because I thought like one of the main characters from like Stranger Things in this past season was going to be in it. And spoiler alert, 3, 2, 1, she gets murdered like right away. It was like, oh, sweet. We don't have to care about her at all. I don't have to like go like, how long is she going to make it? It's immediate.
4 minutes. She makes it 4 minutes.
Immediate. It was... Dude, it's to me, this was a fun movie, just from all the different pieces of like little preteen culture or teenage culture. We're like, oh, the popular girl isn't really popular. She's totally into a really younger person who loves to play Castlevania, by the way. Shout out Dominic. I don't know if you caught that real quick where you're sitting there playing a Nintendo. It's definitely Castlevania.
Yeah, I
did. It was, to me, it hits all the slasher tropes, and it does two things. One, it encapsulates a horror movie in and of itself. It also leaves you wide open for these next two pieces. Thoughts?
With like a pre/post credits scene. I don't know how to call it.
Yeah.
Because like the movie clearly ended, but the credits hadn't really started yet. So I don't know what that little scene that's like introducing part 2.
I don't know.
Marvel hasn't done that before.
This. Yeah, exactly. I don't know who at Netflix is like eating shrooms or ripping bowls or whatever. It's legal now here in Virginia, but I don't know who is responsible for it. But I definitely am a fan of this kind of reverse chronological approach to films. I'm not going to call it a prequel. I won't do it. Because it was very much from the beginning in its inception designed to move backwards and to give you pieces of the story in that fashion versus like something that was a whole piece and then there was a prequel because we wanted more money and then maybe a prequel before that because we wanted more money. This as a whole piece was given. Even all the artwork, all the promotional artwork shows characters from each time period. So I definitely am looking forward to see what the rest of this holds. Plus, it's got Jillian Jacobs, which we only heard in her voice in the show. As a fan of the show Community, Britta Perry, if you're familiar with the character, she's going to survive supposedly long enough to at least be in the second movie.
She's gonna get ice in the first 5 minutes of the second movie.
Yeah, and then maybe she's
just
honestly
keep working our way backwards.
She might even be the other actress from Stranger Things, the redhead, who's in the other artwork. So I mean, whoever that casting director is, keep it up.
I got, and I don't know what everybody's take on this, and I know it's very polarizing. I got very American Horror Story vibes, like from the way that this was filmed, especially was it the last season or the season before that was 1984?
That was 2 seasons ago.
2 seasons ago, 1984, like the Night Stalker Richard Ramirez hook hand season.
And it's honest, I feel a lot of that with the way they introduced part 2 as well.
Right. Yeah.
And I think just because like the summer camp vibes.
Right. And I really liked it. I love a lot of American Horror Story. I liked the first season a whole lot. I liked Asylum and Coven a whole lot. And yeah, I love all the old horror movie tropes in this, like, you know, kind of callbacks to Scream, and all of that. And I've only really gotten recently into horror films, over the last year. I was never really into horror movies, and now I kind of actively seek them out and want to watch them. And I'm stoked that this is getting another 2 parts.
Yeah. So like, interestingly, you're the second person that's mentioned. So this was one of the first things that kind of like me and the co-host from Terry and Pagnito kind of talked about that was new this year. And so one of them sent it to me. It was like, you have to watch this. You're going to love it. And they said the same thing, that they got like a lot of the shades of Scream and some of the callbacks from it. But interestingly, Lee Janiak, who directed this, did direct 2 episodes of the Scream TV show.
Really?
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
I did not know that.
Yeah, I didn't realize that either. That's honestly, so these are the first movies, I think, or maybe I think there was one other movie that she had done like 7 years ago, and she did like a couple of TV episodes and then nothing.
Well, she killed it. She must have saved all of her effort for this one.
She took like 4 years off after Scream, and then did like an episode of TV at the beginning of this year, and then this trilogy. And I think this was like a hell of a step back into the light, because this was great. I thought we have a running joke with Netflix that if it's a horror movie original on Netflix, it's better to not watch it than to watch it, because it's usually trash. Like they've just, some of their original content's just been some of the worst horror movies that have come out in the last like 5 years.
So like, what's worse though? Is it this, like, Netflix or sci-fi?
Netflix,
sci-fi, like, so blatantly like, oh, we're going in for D budget movies, like that's
no, because what sci-fi does, sci-fi pumps money into things and puts out really good content and then cancels it.
I can hear some anger. You hear the anger in that voice?
He had bass in his voice.
He put some ass behind that, dude. He was fucking mad.
Yeah, I love the stuff on sci-fi, but I hate that they keep canceling it. But no, this was great. But one of the last really good OG movies that Netflix has done was The Babysitter, and then they put out a sequel to that, which wasn't that good. Yeah,
garbage.
Because it was really just kind of a retread of jokes from the first one, and as many references as you can cram into 80 minutes. But this I thought was fantastic. It was way more violent than I think anybody would have expected it to be for an R.L. Stine. And like Fear Street was like the violent version of Goosebumps, but they're books, so like how violent they are really kind of depends on your imagination, I guess.
Yeah.
The bread machine kill, the bread slicer, was insane. Like I it's towards the end of the movie. I stopped it. I paused it. I texted my friend. I was just like, "What the fuck? This is incredible." I thought this was great. I'm super hyped to see part 2 and part 3.
Oh man! Well, I can't wait for you to be on the next 2 episodes as we chronicle this together. This to me is definitely a step forward, hopefully, for Netflix and horror. I think next week there's another movie coming out, a classic horror story, which is kind of like, I hope it's kind of you kind of did hit a little bit of a point for me where it's like, yeah, Netflix, usually their horror movies are pretty garbage. The Haunting of Hill House was kind of okay for me. I enjoyed that series.
The series tend to be a lot better than the movies that they. The series
I
got more
House,
time.
Yeah. Fly Manor sucked, but Hill House was good.
Yeah, but I hope.
Which one was the one with the bent neck lady? Was that Hill House?
Yeah, Hill House. Yeah.
Yeah. I think a classic horror story might be reaching. Probably trying to do the American Horror Story version. And it is only an hour and a half, so I mean, how great can it be?
The trailer for that new season came out too today. By the way, I just saw that like right before the show started. American Horror Stories. Yeah. So we'll need to talk about that next
week. Make a note.
Yeah.
Make a note. But no, I'm definitely excited for what's coming up this next week. Excuse me, the week after that. And Sam, thank you so much for joining the show.
Hey man, thanks for having me, guys.
I know this is probably our shortest topic, but I mean, what can you not say besides you had fun watching teens run away from like these ghost-like different genre murder bot bitches? Like it was too fun. I mean, we could probably spend the entire episode really going into detail, right? About okay, this one really hits home for your Jason movies. This one's more Michael Myers, and this is more Scream with the mask and things like that. But I'd rather see. I'm getting a comment from the chat was that it was amazeballs and that acting was a little wonky at times, but I approve.
But you're gonna get that when your actors are teenagers. That's a regular issue in any movie. Is like when your actors are legitimate like teenagers,
kids,
that's just what happens. I mean, you see it in Stranger Things, and everybody loves Stranger Things, at least the first season or two.
Yeah, I mean, it's why I like the latest version of it, because those kids are probably actually pretty terrified of Skarsgård and all of his makeup and stuff, because he is not holding back when he's acting. They're like, "Oh,
I watched
I'm a
his
little
makeup
uncomfortable."
test. That shit scared the shit out of me.
Well, he has that physical ability to contort his smile to actually and this put his eyes in different directions. That's got to be terrifying. Yeah. You're like, "Oh, I thought it was CGI. Oh, I'm going to pee my pants a little bit."
Yeah, he's just a weirdo.
Yeah. And it still blows my mind that he's related to Alexander Skarsgård. He's related to
Stellan Skarsgård.
There's like 30 of them, right?
Yeah. There's a lot of them, and they're all very handsome.
Or there's Skarsgård, and then there's Sarsgaard, right? Isn't there?
Well, there's Peter
family?
Sarsgaard. Peter Sarsgaard, who was in Green Lantern.
Yes. But still, I mean, fantastic work, and I can't wait to see what's coming up next. Any like honorable mentions for this week? Anything we should probably remember for next week? Anything happening?
There's a lot of shit that came out. There was a lot of shit that came out today. As far as like things we should talk about next week. A few things I have them pulled up. Let me pull it up.com. Pull-it-up.com. American Horror Stories trailer release. Marvel's What If trailer released.
There you
go. Which is their new series. The Addams Family 2 trailer released yesterday. And then that's it. Those are the big things that I saw that happened like today that were before that. But no, I think that's it, I would say.
What about you, Sam?
I have no idea.
You want to plug your show?
Talk
about it.
Talk about it.
So I mean, right now we're on like
camera, this camera.
We're on an extended hiatus right now, but we got quite a back catalog of like 100 and some odd episodes. Terror Incognito. It's all horror movies all the time. Every week is a different movie and different headlines, and we have a releasing soon segment called Now Slaying, I think so. It's been a while since we've done an episode, so I've forgotten some of it. We have episodes all the way up until the end of last year. We recorded a few episodes at the beginning of this year, but I think between just work and holiday burnout and our release schedule being what it was, and then we all have kids now, the episodes just weren't that good, so we didn't release them, and we've taken a break. But I think we're getting close. I think the horror convention that we usually go to that's coming up in Williamsburg, Scares That Care, I think that's kind of piqued our interest a bit and gotten us talking about stuff. So we might be putting out some new episodes soon. But
Awesome.
It's all podcasts. You can find it everywhere. Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, or Google Play, I guess, whatever they're called. Spotify, Stitcher, everywhere. Yeah, go check it out. There's all sorts of stuff.
Awesome. Well, thank you again, man. We really appreciate you being here this week, next week, and the following week. And you're always welcome anytime you want to be on the show, even if you just want to shoot the breeze. Obviously, we talked about it a little bit earlier today. We would love to have you on the Destiny 2 streams. We're going to coordinate with Dom.
Yeah.
I'm so sad now, though. Apparently, I didn't realize it when they moved it over to Steam that you had to actually move your BattleNet profile over or you lost it. So I got to start from scratch.
Well,
I think
Dom can help you out.
you need to look. You might still be able to do it.
All right.
I think they gave you a long time. I don't think it's over yet. I think it's close. So look into it, but you might be able to.
Because I'd gotten to Endgame. I'd gotten to Endgame, but then stopped playing because I didn't know enough people to do any of the Endgame stuff with.
No, dude, we fucking got you now, bud.
Yeah.
We got you now.
There he is.
But I know I
There
can
he
get the
is.
free version. I know I can get the free version on Steam, but then I don't know if I need to like buy Beyond Light to do any of that stuff.
I
That
think
you guys,
we can,
at least that you
I
guys.
think
are
we can
planning
do
on
a
doing.
bunch of stuff. Yeah, we can. We can play around that. We'll do a bunch of fun stuff.
Damn, there's a
excited
ton
now.
of shit for this.
There's a lot of shit for that game. Yeah,
Yeah. Back
it's
to
gonna be fun.
Destiny.
Yeah, good times, dude. I'm in. See,
That's what
I
I'm
was
talking
just
about.
about to quit that game.
This is my gaming cat.
By the way, that cat has got comedic timing. Just gliding by. But awesome. So once again, I'm Ernie Hawkins, Ernie UXD on social.
I am Dominic Irvin L Dizza on social.
I'm Sam Heebs on social, but I never use it because I think social media is a doomsday device.
There you go. Check us out on joystickmavericks.com. We're Joystick Maverick on all social except for Twitter because they don't like long names. So Joystick Mav. And once again, go to TUFFWraps.com. Use code Joystick for 10% off of your purchase. And thanks everybody for tuning in. This was a long episode, but damn it, was it worth it?
2 hours. Shit, awesome, good times.
There it is. It's only going to get longer because we're in the summer, baby. All right, everybody. Have a good weekend. Be good to each other and stay spooky, right?
Keep it creepy. That's
Keep
the
it
Alex,
creepy.
the Alex special. Keep it creepy.
Call out to Alex. Later. Bye.